morning. Good morning. It is Sunday morning, and my Sunday's looking similar to my Saturday. So far, I am out here early. Had a couple of returns I needed to do still. And I just again, if you watched my video where I lost my wallet on vacation on my trip to Paris, I just bought a wallet from TJ Maxx, and I rarely go to TJ Maxx because it's always packed. There's always a line. The line is loop-de-loo, wrapped around, and I never, but I guess the secret is you got to go early. So I was there. They opened at 9:30. I was there at 10 o'clock. No line. One lady in front of me. And got in. And I, honestly, there's a part of me that feels like my wallet is going to make its way home to me somehow, some way. I know that I might be, some people might think I'm a little, whatever. But I don't lose things. I'm not a person that goes around and just always losing stuff, always breaking stuff, always, So when I lost my wallet, or I didn't have it when I got home, my first thought was, it'll find its way back home to me. So I'm still hopeful for that. So I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. I said all that to say I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on a new wallet. Excuse me. So like I said, I just went to TJ Maxx, ran in real quick, no line. It was like great. Looked at their wallets. They had a wallet, Anne Klein. Looks very similar to my wallet that I lost. As far as the compartments and things like that. And so I was like, and it was on clearance. It had one of those red stickers on it, so it was clearance for $10. That was a no-brainer, so I got it. And I also needed change. I went to the bank because I need to go to the laundromat. Don't ask. But I have stackable washer dryer in my apartment, and for some reason, from when I first moved in, when I wash towels, it doesn't. They don't, like, something happens to my machine. I don't know if it's too heavy, and I'm not talking about a huge load of towels. I'm talking about a couple towels, and but the machine just like shuts down. And I thought it was broke the first time this happened because it just stopped in mid-cycle. It stopped washing, and my towels were left in there with water, with the water still there was like no rinse cycle. So I put in a work order or whatever with my apartment complex. And the guy came, he checked it out. I guess he did a sample washing, and it according to him, it worked fine. So they were like, it's fine. But I know what I know. You know what I mean? And so anyway, so for that reason, I don't wash my towels in that washer. I go to the laundromat. And that's what I'm doing this morning. But the last time I was at this particular laundromat, which is the only, there are other little laundromats, but I know this one, and it's near my car wash, which I also need to do. So I'm like, kill two birds with one stone. I'll put my towels in the washing machine, and then I'll go to the car wash, which is right there. Vacuum out my car, because the main thing I need to do is vacuum it out. The outside is fine, So yes, I'll do that all together. But the last time I was at the laundromat, you know, like I needed change. I mean, they have a change machine, obviously, but I needed like change from nobody. First of all, nobody carries cash anymore. We don't carry cash like we used to. So I went to the, you know, the owner or whatever, the lady in the booth, and I was like, oh, I need change for, I don't know, a 20 or something. And she said something to me that was like a little offensive, or a little like, I mean, you own a business here. People are gonna need change. Oh, she said she's not a bank. And I was just like, you don't want my business then, if you're not a bank. Or, you know, like, to even make that comment, I thought was just like unnecessary. Anyway, I'm going back there today. I haven't been there in a while. I'm going back there today because I need to wash my towels. Like, you know. But I'm here at Target, and I mentioned in the last video I did, which I don't know, I tried to upload. This video might get out before that video, but I'm here at Target. I have a purchase I have a return, which my coworker told me I shouldn't have any problem returning this. I'm gonna try, and then when I return it, I'm gonna let you know what it was when I get back. She said I could return anything at Target, don't matter. I don't know. I'm gonna try this and see if I get not get away with it, but let me see how it goes. I'll let you know. Okay, I just left the Target. That return that I mentioned, that my coworker was so sure I would be able to return, they did not return. They would not take it back. They would not take the return back, and I'll tell you what it was. And normally I'm not the one trying to return stuff that I used. I'm not that one. But I, you know, after my coworkers said I could surely return it, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to use this again in like, I don't know how long. So why don't I try to return it? It was my air tag that I used on my trip, that I put in my luggage and took with me to Paris. I know, that was wrong. That was wrong of me to try to return it. Okay, I get that. But she was like, you can return anything to Target. Anything. It doesn't matter whether you have the receipt. It doesn't matter. And she was like, as long as you put in your phone number, which I do. I always put in my phone number at Target when I do any transaction. She's like, you have a receipt on your app. Well, I pulled up that receipt because I couldn't find the physical receipt, because this was in January that I purchased it. I think it was the end of January. So the first question the lady asked me was, did I have the box? And I was like, box? No. Like, I was like, what box? But then she proceeded to say, oh, you got this. Wait, I'm sorry. Let me just make sure. Oh, this is my turn. She said, you got this in January. You only have 30 days to return it. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, and you don't have the box. And I said, wait, is it because I don't have the box, or is it because it's past, you know, the 30 days? Which is it? She said, oh no, it's past the 30 days. I said, so, okay, so the box has nothing to do with it. She said, yeah. But if you had the box, it would have something of the serial number, blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, but I said, because I may have the box at home. Like, I don't know. You know, but I usually don't, when I buy Apple products, any Apple products, whether it be AirPods, whether it be, you know, of course, a phone, I don't just throw away the box immediately. I keep the box for whatever, you know, for a while. So when she said that about the box, I was like, I probably have the box at home. So then, like, we were kind of going back and forth for a minute, because I'm like, if you're saying that if I had the box, you would take it back, I may have the box at home. And she was like, no, it's still past the 30 days. I said, okay. So the whole box issue has nothing to do, like, I wanted to say you shouldn't even brought the box up, because it has nothing to do with it. I mean, sure, I didn't even realize it came in a box, quite frankly. I didn't have the actual just air tag. I had, there's some like cardboard stuff, that it's kind of I guess, inside the box. Anyway, I'm gonna go tell my coworker this tomorrow at work and see what she says. See, how she responds, because she was sure that, oh no, you can take anything back to Target. And like, I'm not the one, I'm sure not going to be the one trying to be confrontational. Oh, give me a manager. I'm not doing that over something that clearly I used. Okay. I mean, I know people like that. I know people like that, but I'm not doing all of that. If they were to just take it back with no questions asked, then okay, great. But I'm not doing all that extra just to return something that shouldn't be returning anyway. I'll just save it for my next trip. No biggie. Okay, so I'm here at the laundromat. So I'm going to put my towels in there to wash, and then I'll be back, because then I'll need to go over to the where am I going next? I'm going to get vacuum out my car. Yeah. I'll be back. Okay, so I went to the laundromat, washed my clothes. I was going, of course I was going to dry them as well. But, I was there. I was just kind of like, I can dry them at home. My dryer works fine. It's my washer that has an issue. And even though, wet towels are heavy, and, so it would have been more convenient to dry them there. But as what I did, which is usually what I do whenever I have to go to the laundromat, I'm multitasking. So drop off my clothes, put them in the washer, take note of the time. Like, I put my clothes in, I had 30 minutes. So, okay, then I go across the street, I vacuum out my car, making sure, because, some laundromats, if your clothes are done and you get back after your clothes, they have an issue, or somebody might take your clothes, if it's crowded or whatever, you ain't touching my clothes or my towels in this case. So I made sure I was back, and I was back like 10 minutes early. So when I get back, I'm just standing right in front of my, the washer where my towels are. And this woman, there was a change machine right next to me. And so a woman, comes up to use the change machine. So I move out her way a little bit, and she's getting all this change and everything. And then a few minutes later, she comes back over, and she, like, bends down on the floor, and she has a little cup with her, and I don't know what she was doing. I don't know if it was like a insect or something on the ground, and she was trying to scoop it up. I don't know. That's what it looked like. That's exactly what it looked like. I don't know if it was for her kid, if her kid, how kids are always, how kids are like, they might have a pet, and I don't know, let's say a pet frog, and so the pet frog eats flies. I don't know. I'm just making this up. I'm just saying, I don't know what she was scooping up off the floor of a laundromat. But I stood there waiting for my towels to finish, and I said, when they're finished, I'm getting the heck on out of here. And I know this might sound bougie or whatever, but I've used the last apartment I was in. Let me think. We didn't have a washer dryer in our apartment. We had a little washroom, and it was always, it wasn't the greatest. Like, and if somebody else was washing, but there was a big laundromat like right across the highway. So I would always go to the big laundromat because I knew, I could wash my clothes over there with no problem. I wouldn't have to wait or anything like that. And I could leave them, go do other things, come back, and there's no issue. But so I say that to say that I'm not like above going to a laundromat. Like I'm familiar with a laundromat, but sometimes you have, people, everybody go to laundromat, and when I saw this woman doing this, I was just like I said, I don't know what she was picking up off the ground, but she had a little clear little cup and she was trying to scoop it up. I don't want no parts of that. I don't know what she was doing. I don't know what that was, if it was a roach or something. I don't know. But I wasn't sticking around to find out, and I wasn't going to keep my towels in there to find out. So I just got my wet towels, and they're wet, but they're rinsed out, so they're not like soaking wet. Took my towels, put them in my bag, and they're in the trunk of my car, and I will dry them when I get home. Anyway, yeah. So now, and then after I left there, I went to the car wash. Went to the car wash, which was across the street. Got my car washed, just the exterior part of the car. I mean, the interior could have been like if I had let them do it, but I do that part because it's just cheaper, and honestly I feel like I do a better job. Although my car probably could use a detailing, just a one. I've had my car. I don't even know how long, maybe 4 years or so. I could go for a detailing right now. Just like a serious, like, detail cleaning internally. I don't even know what a detail really entails, but I believe it's a detailing, like cleaning everything. I could use one of those right now. But now I have one last stop at the supermarket just to pick up something for dinner tonight and tomorrow. I'll probably get some salmon. I try not to eat salmon that often, but maybe once a week, maybe at the most. And then so I'll pick that up at the supermarket, and then I'm going to head home. I think I have everything I need. It's 12:24, so I should be home by 1 o'clock. And then I need to vacuum. I did some, like I said yesterday, I did some meal prep. I need to do some, like cooking, a little cooking of, some stuff, so I have during the week. And excuse me, vacuum, straighten my apartment. You know what, I could run and get right now. I haven't had. I usually have fresh flowers in my apartment that I get from Trader Joe's every couple of weeks. Haven't had those since I've been back from my trip. And they just, warm my soul. They just, just warm my soul, make me feel good. And they're not that expensive. Maybe I'm headed in that direction anyway. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna run up here to Trader Joe's real quick, get some fresh flowers, and yeah. Woo, sorry. Get some fresh flowers from Trader Joe's. And then I'll go to the supermarket, which is on the other side, on my way back. And then I'll go home. So I may not make it home till 1:30. But still, that gives me all afternoon if I want to do another load of laundry. And I had just also another thing I just did. I ran to the dollar store. I got when I first moved in my apartment, I got these, like towels for the kitchen, like, just like throw around towels that you use for, I just use them in every room, pretty much. I have one that I put in the bathroom, one in a couple of them go in the kitchen, I just use them, and they're great. They're just, it's a rag. And like in the kitchen, like if there's excess water around the sink or something, I use it for that. Same thing in the bathroom. And so the ones I have are so worn down. Again, they're from the dollar store, and I've been looking for them for a while now, and I'm like, I guess they just don't even sell them anymore. Well, today I found them. It was in a different department. I was looking in the housewares section, but I guess that's not the section that they're in. They're in more like the I don't know. They're in another section. So I found them today. So I grabbed like 6 of them because they're good. They're just good throw around rags that you can use for your house to just, if your stove is, like all messy or whatever, you can just use them for that. Just use them for anything, and then throw them in the washing machine, and you're done. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I like something just told me to kind of look a little, because I couldn't believe. I'm like, I've been to a couple dollar stores, and I always look for them, and I'm like, they just don't have those. And they're kind of they're just a rag. They're like, if you were to, cut up, not a t-shirt, but it's just a good rag to use. So I was so disappointed when I couldn't find them. But now I found them. So I'm so glad about that. So now I'm going to Trader Joe's, and then I'm going home. I'm going home, and I will be in for the night. I could probably get my salmon up here at Wegmans, but I don't know. I like the salmon from ShopRite. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Be well. And yeah.